This is episode number 222 of the Homeowners Show. Whether you're DIY or looking to hire, we're here to help you find the best information and options for you and your home. My name is Kevin Hackett, and here with me is Greg Williams.
Hello, and welcome to the Homeowners Show. We're so glad that you could join us for another live episode here on the Homeowners Show in the studio. How you doing, Kev?
Oh, I'm good.
You good?
I'm good. Things are good.
Yeah.
Busy, good, but it's almost like it's that Thanksgiving time.
Yeah.
Man, life's good. I love Thanksgiving. It's one of my favorite times of the year.
Except you don't like pumpkin. Because there's something genetically wrong with you.
What does that have to do with Thanksgiving whatsoever?
Because everything is pumpkin at Thanksgiving. I don't know if you just don't go outside, but like everything is pumpkin flavored right now.
I wouldn't know. Yeah, I got nothing.
So, but pumpkin's delicious.
I'm okay. That's fine.
If y'all haven't been watching the show long enough, I like to point out to Kevin every so often that he's a picky guy. He doesn't think that
I'm
he
not
is.
picky.
See? He's in denial.
I'm not picky. I'm not. I'm in this Homeowner Show studio.
So I'm going to try something different this week.
Oh, okay.
Because we are on the cusp of doing something kind of cool. If you haven't yet, go subscribe to our YouTube page.
Ooh, we're close.
We're close to a particular goal that we've been trying to hit that could really help out the show. So if you haven't yet, go over there, subscribe, hit the bell, all the kind of good. But like also just follow the show, like the page, share it, share the feed.
Right.
It's really super helpful.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we'll let you know when we hit the goal. You'll probably know.
I mean, we might hit it with it just in the next few minutes. I mean,
really?
If people listen to me.
I don't know why
I'm
not.
a persuasive dude.
Especially if you're if you're watching us live right now, there's no reason why you shouldn't
on the YouTube
switch over to YouTube if you're not already there. Some people are already watching on YouTube.
Yep.
And if you are, just go ahead and click subscribe and then
come on back over.
Hit the bell because that'll notify you whenever we got something new. Yeah, it's easy.
Yeah.
Super easy.
So there's some cool stuff going on in not cool stuff, some terrifying stuff.
That's different.
I think I said cool because I think it's interesting.
Okay.
But some terrifying stuff happening in real estate right now.
Okay. Tell me.
And I want to talk about it, but I also want to let people know that we got Caleb in the studio.
Yeah, he's here.
So you feel free to chime in on this.
Okay.
But are you guys both familiar with like Redfin and Zillow?
Yeah.
Okay. So like, what do you guys know those companies as?
Well,
this is not a trick. I mean,
they're primarily like MLS type. They show you what's on the market.
Right.
Yeah.
And like most people shopping for a house, they probably have those apps on their phone.
Yep.
I mean, they have really good search features. Mm-hmm. So did you guys know that they are both real estate acquisition companies?
Yeah, I did hear recently Zillow started doing some of that.
Well, Zillow's been doing it, and Redfin. Redfin has a very specific house flipping division in their company.
Yeah, I didn't know this. You know how I knew about this?
Huh.
I knew about this because our real estate agent friend who Freddie.
Oh yeah,
who starts posting about this kind of stuff, but I didn't know about it till he started pointing it out. And when he started pointing it out, I was like, "Whoa!"
Yeah,
it blew my mind a little bit.
Yeah, and it's like
not in a good way.
There's nothing illegal about it. I mean, like it's just kind of like when you realize what's been going on, you're like, "Oh, that's kind of nefarious."
It feels underhanded.
It feels underhanded. So here's what's happening. So Redfin has this massive department within their company that is for real estate acquisition and property flipping. Zillow has the same thing. Back in October, Zillow went ahead and laid off at least 5% of their staff.
Yeah.
Redfin just this month announced that they're going to be laying off 13%,
Ooh.
particularly in their property flipping division.
Okay.
And so people are looking at this going, okay, like these guys have access to a lot of data when it comes to the way in which the real estate market is going.
Yeah.
And like, I'm sorry to all like my real estate agent friends and things like that, but like, it looks like it's taken like they are showing their hand and going like, it's not going to be good.
Yeah, this is going to break.
And it's not, and then like they're looking at their projections going like 2023 for real estate is going to suck.
Well, and not only that, who did we have on recently who was going, yeah, I know a lot of real estate, like the number of agents.
The number of agents has gone down. Yeah, people are getting out.
They're getting out, but the number of agents that are coming in counterbalance that.
Right. Yeah.
So we're in this really, really weird place, and obviously things like the mortgage rates are insane. Well,
Right.
they're not insane. Historically, they're not
Right.
insane. But for recent 15 years, they're pretty insane. And so at some point, something's got to give, right?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, we were there with house prices, and now we're like, well, something's got to give. And now the interest rate has shown its hand, and it's like, well, that's what gave. And now something else got to give.
Right.
It just has to.
Yeah, it will. Well, and like you're starting to see the listing price, the initial listing price being way higher than what the actual closing price is coming in on a lot of these properties. And the ones that aren't budging on the price are the ones that have been sitting on the market for a long time. And so, like, it's potentially getting into like a buyer's market, but it's definitely not there yet. Prices are still way too high. Interest rates are too high for it to be a buyer's market. Although I had a meeting with a couple of guys that we were talking about bringing them on, doing an episode with them on the show. And this guy's with a mortgage company, and they're talking about if you close on a house now, what they are willing to do is if you're in a fixed interest rate loan, and in 2 years the interest rates come down, they're willing to refinance your property for free at the new interest rate, because they're saying, like, look, we want to get you in the right house, just buy the house. And so, like, let's just take the interest rate thing away as being, because like let's say you have to buy it right now at like 7.5%, and in a year it's like interest rates go down to 5%. Well, that's a significant drop as far as like what you're paying, but you're going to pay a lot in closing costs to refinance that loan. And so this company is saying, like, look, we recognize that, like, this is just like a crap hand of cards you've been dealt, so we're willing to refinance it for free down the road.
That's cool.
Yeah. I don't know if they're putting like a cap on that or what, but yeah. So
Interesting.
So anyway, we've got a really cool episode tonight, and I felt it was really appropriate because of the chilly weather outside to start talking about swimming pools.
That's right. That's right. Well, the funny thing is that now is the time.
Well, yeah,
Now is definitely the time to start talking about it.
And then just for like my own edification, is this just the time because you can get a better deal, or is it the time because this is when typically people don't mind their yards being disrupted outside?
Well, that's a good point. I mean, yeah, now is, some people like to want to have their yard pretty. Maybe they're hosting Thanksgiving or Christmas. But yeah, generally this would be the less important part of the year for your yard. But also if you're getting in now, if you're looking to buy one, now's the time because it'll be ready.
Oh yeah, when that time comes,
it'll
around.
be ready for the heat. Now, if you're April, you're late. Like, it's already we don't have time. It's already hot.
You're just gonna get a pile of dirt in your yard for the whole swimming season.
Yeah, and then you're gonna get real frustrated because it's not done yet.
Well, and so I guess tell everybody kind of what you do.
Yeah, so I'm a designer. Mm-hmm. It's technically like designer and sales, but really the pools sell themselves if you design them correctly.
Right.
I really don't consider myself in sales whatsoever.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a pretty awful salesman. I'm really honest and kind of like blunt, and I'm just really bad at sales. But I'm pretty decent at design, I like to think. So that's really what we focus on in our company anyways, is the design of the pool, and kind of the art behind the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
So basically I take your plain backyard. I go into my little lab and I kind of create the most functional and pretty and fun thing that I can.
Mm-hmm.
And then kind of we work together to see if it's something that'll work for you and your family. Yeah.
So when someone, when they start off with the simple idea, I want a pool. Mm-hmm. Like what is like the baseline conversation? Like, where do you start in the conversation with somebody about how to design this pool?
Right.
Because I imagine a lot of people come in with like expectations that sometimes have to be killed.
Yeah, absolutely. So the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna ask why. Like, why do we want the pool? Do you have a 5, 7, and 9-year-old? Like, okay, I'm gonna start thinking a little bit differently than if you're empty nesters and you've just got a lot of adult friends to entertain.
Right.
Like, so we're getting a totally different design style. I'm gonna ask you, do you want one of the main questions is geometric or freeform?
Okay.
Do you want straight lines or do you want curvy lines? I greatly enjoy doing the straight lines.
Yeah. Right.
The curvy lines, fantastic. If you can make it look nice, if you have a big yard,
Right.
that's better because you tend not to be as optimal with your space. But yeah, that's usually where we start is what's the goal of this pool? Where are we?
Yeah.
Who are we trying to use this for?
What really drives the decision for someone between like the straight line and the curvy line pool? I mean, what is it, like a personality
I
thing?
would love to know.
You don't know.
I would love, honestly.
Surely it's a personality issue.
Well,
I would think on some level.
It's a little bit of a. The straight lines are, I mean, you could kind of say more in style, at least right now.
Right.
Because I think a lot of times you go curvy lines and people immediately go to like a kidney bean, and a lot of people don't like that these days. But I get a lot of, I work with a lot of people from different countries. I have, a lot of people move here from Europe or South America or something. And I've noticed it kind of depends on which country you're from.
Okay.
Sort of.
Huh.
It's been an interesting, at least what I've noticed. So yeah,
I'm just kind of wondering if people are looking at it going, well, I grew up with a square pool. I'd really like, something with some curve to it. Right? Yeah. I don't know. I mean,
yeah, there's a lot of age.
Uh-huh.
I've noticed a lot of different, kind of what age bracket are you in? Generally anyone from like 20 to 55 wants a straight edge and a little bit older likes the curvy.
Yeah.
But to each their own.
Sure. Well, I mean, like, and on that subject, one of the things I've been noticing lately, and I don't know if this is something that you have, but like I'm in a lot of people's houses. I've been noticing people opting for much smaller pools.
Yeah.
Rather than like Kevin and I have a friend. They put one in, and I think
super small.
It's like maybe 8 feet by like 8 feet.
Yeah, it's small.
Oh, that's really small.
But like it's like 5 feet deep. It's got like steps down on the inside. And
interesting.
And then it's just a pool.
They wanted a place to hang out in the water that didn't take up their whole backyard.
Yeah.
That's what they did.
Well, and that's kind of how it's sort of trending. Is it's not as much about the pool as it is about the overall
area.
Outdoor area, backyard space that you have.
Yeah.
Because I think like in the 80s and 90s, it was like, give me the 40-foot wide, 10-foot deep diving board, and all that. I feel like nowadays it's more like, well, I'd rather have a little bit smaller pool, but also a kitchen and a pergola and a fire pit.
Yep.
Just to suit the whole, all year round, and you kind of get a lot more out of it that way, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I think that one of the things that I've heard a lot of, at least, is like people going away from diving board stuff just because homeowners insurance goes way up if you have a diving board.
I've never done a diving board.
Really?
In any of my pools, I've never done a diving board.
What about like one of those rocks that just kind of juts out a little bit?
Yeah.
I see a lot of those. Like people are like, oh, that's my jumping rock.
No, that's the jutting rock.
The jutting rock?
the jutting. So we will do that. I'm usually going to need a request. I'm not usually going to just like
put that in there.
There because if I put that in there, they told me, they said, hey, I love the rock. Give me the rock.
Bring me the
rock. We don't do a lot
Can't do a wrestling reference. It's just
no, it doesn't work.
Give the look. It's just the look. I haven't done a lot. We really aren't doing a lot of rocks, even at all.
Oh, like rock features, like even like the waterfall stuff.
Yeah.
Like that?
So we're doing it. We're doing a lot of it more as a little bit more modern. Not as much with the rocks and the earthy type
Because like for a long time, I think a lot of people were like, "Oh, give me the rocks, give me the slide in the rocks, right? All that kind of stuff." Which I would assume that's like a super expensive like add-on. I would guess
It's not the cheapest. It's not the cheapest way to do it. That's for sure.
Right. It's better. It's better than the like the Home Depot slide that you just put into the water. But
the little tykes that you just kind of shoved it up
right.
Right. Gorilla glue that thing to the deck.
Are those 2x4s holding that up?
That's where the home insurance should start kicking in.
Exactly.
But yeah, we're doing more like just like raised walls. They go straight up and we'll put we'll have a water feature coming out of it. Maybe a little stainless steel trough or kind of a sunken in. You don't even see it, just a water shooting out of the wall. And then we'll face those with stone or something, whatever the customer wants, really.
Yeah.
So do you think like those types of water features, are they just aesthetic, or do they actually help with filtering process at all?
So yeah, you definitely want your water to be moving around.
Yeah.
You don't want just completely stagnant. And then that gives you more returns in there. So you get your water flowing more. You're getting fresh water put in more often. And it looks nice.
It does look nice.
Yeah.
I think some people just like the sound.
That's another thing.
You want to go out there, you want to sit by a pool, and there's something about a waterfall sound that's really peaceful.
I want to find the guy that'll just put the water feature in for me. I don't even want the pool.
Yeah.
You just got a fountain.
I just want a fountain.
There.
Yeah. I think it's just a fountain, right?
That's what I want.
Okay.
I'll see if I can get you a quote. For that.
Well, you need a grander entrance. I'm just saying. But
so I will tell this story. Like when we bought this place, one of our relatives had a what do you call it? The little bobcat tractor thing that pushes dirt around.
A little bobcat.
Yeah. And when we bought it, I was like, man, I want a pond. And I knew I wanted a pond because I wanted to eventually put in
fish.
Well, yeah, but like I want
This guy wants a fountain.
I want a fountain. That's what I want. What I wanted was like a waterfall that, like circulates the water.
Sure.
All that kind of stuff. And so like he was going to bring it out. We were going to knock some trees down, dig a big hole. And for whatever reason, like everyone here was like, you can't do that. And I was like, it's free. Like it's just a hole in the ground.
Right.
Let me dig it.
Yeah.
I got vetoed, man.
Really?
Why?
I don't know.
Like vetoed by who?
Everyone here. It was like everyone against me.
Who? Like in your homeowners association?
No.
Or in your house?
In my house. In my house. They're like, you can't do that. And I'm like, says who?
Right.
And apparently them.
Right. Because there's no fountain.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
Well, they didn't know about the fountain.
Right.
You should have told them.
They didn't have my vision.
Right. You should have said, but fountain. Like you should have used the word fountain.
Yeah.
They might have changed their mind. You never know.
Well,
Now you know.
I don't care now. Just gonna go buy one in Arkansas.
Yeah. That would be good. That would be a whole lot more expensive than just building a fountain. But hey,
not on my my mental health bill.
no, I know that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Those bobcats are incredible
I
machines.
love those things.
Amazing what they'll do.
They're insane.
Yeah.
So I did eventually rent one, but not for that.
Yeah.
I had to clear out. I had a lot of bad dirt in the barn, and so I got one of those mini bobcats because it was only like 36 inches wide, so it would actually go through the gates.
Yep.
And so I thought it was going to take
36 inches.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's crazy. We have to use those to get
into
people's backyards.
Yeah.
It's amazing. That's why they make them, obviously.
Yeah.
But anyway, go ahead.
Well, and they work really well. I mean, like they can move a lot of dirt.
They still do it.
So it took me a lot less time than I thought it was, and so I ended up with a lot of extra time that I'd paid for.
I know where this is going.
So have I told you about this?
Yes. I think we've talked about it on the show.
Have we?
Well, it doesn't matter. It was like episode 4. So go ahead.
Anyway, so I got bored, so I started digging a hole. Well, back up.
When he wants a fountain.
That's actually not why I dug this hole. When I bought this place, there was like this metal plate out in the pasture, and I'd gone out there and I kicked it, thinking I'll just move it, and it wouldn't budge. So I went out there with a shovel, wouldn't budge. I went out there with a pry bar, couldn't move it, and I was like, what is that thing? Mm-hmm. And so I was like, you know what? I've got this thing. I'm going to go out there and dig that booger up. Mm-hmm. So I started digging it up, and it just kept coming and kept coming. And it was the tracks off of a bulldozer that someone had buried in my pasture.
What?
And so I eventually got it out. It was like 3,000 pounds of like metal just buried in the pasture.
The Bobcat got it out.
Yeah.
I told you. Incredible.
They're incredible. It struggled, but like I got it out of there. It took me some digging.
I mean, you did like break the Bobcat.
That's not how I broke it. That's not how I broke it.
Uh-oh.
But anyway, I was so proud of myself when I dug that thing up.
I bet.
And so like I went in the house and I was like, babe, you got to come out here and look at this thing. And I was showing it to her like I just shot a buck.
Yeah.
I was like, look at what I've done.
She didn't get it.
She was like, what the hell is wrong with you? And I was like, what? And she goes, what are you going to do with it? I was like, I don't know. Look at it.
C&D scrap metal.
That's right.
And paying $2 bills.
Yeah. And she's like, put that thing back in the ground. And I was like, all right.
Did you put it back?
Yeah, it's back. It's out there. It's part of my retirement plan. I'm waiting for the scrap metal price to really go up.
Yeah, you're not going to get much right now.
Well, and I need the trailer to move it too.
Oh, yeah.
But anyway, when I was putting the dirt back, it had like a slope going down, and so I had picked the bucket up, and as I was going down, it flipped the thing over and threw me off. And and I got it back up, and then it just wouldn't start anymore. And apparently it has like this kill switch in it that if it tips over, I don't know.
Yeah.
Because like it moves oil into this, and they don't, anyway, it's a whole thing.
Yeah.
I screwed up.
Yeah, that was I'm sorry, babe. Whoops.
Well, now it's kind of her fault because it was fine before.
It was fine.
Right.
Yeah.
Until you had to put it back in.
Maybe put it back.
Yeah. By the way, she does every once in a while pop in here, and she will.
Hey,
it's random.
Nothing
but
that I said is untrue.
No, that's the problem. It's typically me, and somehow I'm saying something about his wife that I shouldn't have said to begin with, and that's the one time she turns it on. I said 4 words, and you heard all of them. Thank you.
So,
of course,
I'm gonna transition this. You ready?
Okay.
I'm gonna titillate the people with the transition here.
That's a good word.
Yeah. So they're really good at digging deep holes. You can. I mean, like I think I had to go down like 6 or 7 feet to get that thing out of the ground. Is depth a problem on these pools? Are some people? I mean, like is I know 10 feet is kind of like a standard depth, but like, are you guys able to go deeper than that? I don't know the. Because like I was like, man, 15 feet, that'd be kind of cool.
Yeah.
I'm titillated right now.
Yeah. You should be.
Sorry.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. So really, most people these days are going just like 6 feet. So our standard, we start usually like 3.5 on the shallow end.
Yeah.
And depending, some people want a sport pool, so we go 4, 5, 4.
Oh, it's like a slope down.
So they'll
We have
do
a friend who has one like that.
like a volleyball type basketball. So it's just deeper in the middle and
Okay.
shallow on the sides. A lot of people go 3.5 to 6.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't really gone. We don't usually go deeper than like 8.
Okay.
Really?
We can.
Okay. That was my next question.
But you can. It's just most people don't even really want it.
Yeah.
Well, and so the friend that I was talking about, Jared, he's been on a show before.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Okay.
He's got one of those. I think it's 4.5. He may be 4.64, but but anyway, the thing that he told me was, and I don't know how y'all do it, but his was his price was calculated by the linear foot, not by the depth. Is that accurate at all? What y'all do? Because I mean, I would think, well, it's going to be more work to do an 8 foot than a 3 foot or a 4 foot or whatever.
Yeah.
Because first of all, you got to do something with the dirt. You got to actually move the dirt. Like to me, it would be more. But
so yeah, there's a lot of different factors.
I'll come move your dirt for free.
There you go.
Just rent me. I'll have a blast.
Depth is a part of a price factor.
There you
Okay,
go.
yeah.
That makes more sense to me. I was like, that doesn't make any sense.
I mean, so generally, a good way to describe just overall the size of the pool would be the perimeter. You say you got an 80 perimeter pool. Let's say that's a small one.
Okay.
Say 90 perimeter is about average.
Is that like foot?
Yeah, so 90 feet perimeter, that'd be a 30 by 15 by 30 by 15 like rectangle.
Right.
Okay.
That would be like 90. I'd say that's average. 100, I'd say it's pretty big. 110, that's pretty big.
Yeah.
And then like 120 and beyond, like you got yourself a nice pool.
An oasis.
A real big pool here.
Yeah.
But then you can go the depth. So the thing about the depth is now we've dug deeper, so it's going to take more for the dig. We got to do more work to dig.
Sure.
Then we do rebar. So now that's that much more rebar that we've got to put in there as well. And we do gunite. There's that much more gunite that we've got to put in there. That's the concrete. And then we do the plaster. We do all like pebble finish on the plaster. So now there's all of that extra plaster that you've got to do. And so the depth definitely affects it. It affects the internal area of the pool. And so that's going to, that should, if you were trying to make money on your deal, you should calculate that in the.
Oh, yeah, I would think
Yeah.
so.
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Good job thinking, Kevin.
Well, I tried. Most of the time, it's not good. But so maybe he was just saying based on what he was looking at, he could have done all of it one depth, or maybe that was his deal. Was like,
Yeah.
they'll do a certain depth for a certain price. And
Yeah.
then if you go lower, like then it's I don't know. What I do know though is that was like 5 years ago,
Right.
and the prices
yeah.
from 5 years ago to 3 years ago, 2 years ago to today are like
They're totally
they're
different.
crazy.
Yeah, up until about 6 feet deep, you're not going to have much of a difference.
Okay,
Like
and maybe that was
As
it.
far as like material.
Yeah, like if you were like, oh, I just want it to be 4 feet deep, like, right, I get a big discount. Like, it's not going to change that much. Like, anything under 6 feet is pretty normal. Once you go to like 7, 8, now you're going to start seeing, you're going to see more of an increase as opposed to a decrease for going shallower. If that makes sense.
Part of the reason I ask is there's some clients that I have that have these multi-tier leveled pools. Have you seen these?
Yep.
And so like I can look at that and go, okay, so like this one's got like at least a 5 foot wall, and then at the bottom of that 5 foot wall, that pool down there goes down another 3 feet. And so like we're talking about a lot of depth that they've built structurally into this thing, and I'm like, okay, like what how deep can we go?
That's a significant. Yeah, so a lot of times on a pool like that where you're seeing these tiers, I would be designing that based to cater to the natural slope.
Right.
So if you've got in your backyard, you step off your patio and that thing drops down 8 feet to the bottom, we can tier that thing easy, and we've hardly even had to dig at this point.
Which has to be kind of nice. I mean,
it's.
I mean, like I imagine there's downsides.
It comes into a lot more rebar and a lot more gunite.
Yeah,
'cause you got to build walls at that point.
Yeah, the
right?
dig's the easy part.
Yeah,
the dig is not so hard.
And the fun part.
I'm just saying. You need a hole in your yard.
Right.
Give me a holler.
Yeah. The issue with the depth comes depends on the soil. So if you're out near the lake or out off on the river or anything like that, you've got a chance for a little bit more of a sandier soil. When you're digging deeper into that, it just doesn't hold up very well. So you're trying to build your foundation on the sand. You're trying to pour that gunite, it doesn't really work so well.
I've heard a story about that once.
You may have heard that somewhere.
Okay, I don't know. I've just heard it a few times.
Yeah. The other issue is potentially running into the water table. You hit a spring, deeper you go, better chance is you're going to hit some sort of water. Natural.
Well, it's just cheaper to fill it at that point.
And then I got my water feature.
Right.
There you go. Get that bubbler coming
That's
up.
right.
That's hilarious.
I win either way.
Right. Could you just put a hole there? Like just build a hole? That way it just kind of...
There you go.
Which is what I was trying to do in the first place.
Yeah, so that's...
just put a float on that thing. That way whenever it gets to a certain spot, it just turns off, right? Put a float on it.
Yep. That's the custom pond. That's our other division.
Which, by the way, speaking of ponds, and I know your parents have a pond on their property. So in Arkansas, I have some friends who have a cabin out in Mountain Home, which is
I know Mountain View.
Yeah. And where's it? Mountain View.
Both of those are cities in
No,
Arkansas.
I know. Which one's the one?
Mountain View is the folk music capital.
That's the one.
Okay. They're Mountain View.
Their place is out in Mountain View, and you know where that is. And they had a pond dug, but they could not, for anything, keep it to hold water. And so they did all kinds of stuff. Apparently, like there's some stuff you can put in the bottom of it. It's supposed to help, hold it. But they were told that the best thing they could possibly do to get it to hold water, bring pigs in.
Oh.
They said pigs will just
roll down in the bottom and
they waller in it. They do whatever they do, and
that is the most Arkansas solution I've ever heard.
Yeah. Well,
you know what you need? Need you a few good pigs.
Yeah. Need you a couple hogs.
Woo, Smig Suey. Here we go.
Call the hogs in here.
That's right. And
this is your new pool business, Caleb. You need
I'm
to
just
go
saying.
capture you some wild hogs. Listen, here's what we're gonna do.
Right.
We're gonna get the hole started. We're gonna turn these pigs loose in your yard. Right. In 3 years,
right,
you got yourself a holler.
Can you just and just sign here?
That's right. Right. Now this is a per pig price. So how fast do you want this done?
It's not going to take that long because really they're going to reproduce. Right. You're going to have 40 pigs in the backyard before this is all done. And when the pool's done, barbecue.
I'm just saying, you're going to have to buy some apples. That's all I'm saying.
That's awesome.
I just thought it was the most random, I would never have thought,
only in Arkansas.
Only in Arkansas.
So here, I'll tell you guys something crazy I just learned about pigs. So if you take a farm pig and you turn him loose in the wild, he will convert into a wild boar, like a wild pig. They will grow tusks. Their hair will get longer. Yes.
What?
If you take...
Like a potbelly?
Yes.
When in Rome, man.
If you are a wild pig and you bring them into a domesticated situation, their hair will get shorter.
No.
They will lose their tusks.
No.
Yes.
What? And grow a potbelly?
Look it up.
Not.
Now, they're not ever going to be like a potbelly pig.
Okay.
But they're going to become, because they're around other pigs like that, they're going to become like the other pigs they're around.
Wow. Read the room.
It's crazy.
I've never heard anything like that. I will say, though, that my understanding is pigs are great pets.
They can't, so in my experience, if you're the owner, they're better than any guard dog.
Yeah, because they're mean.
They're mean.
They can be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bite your leg off. Yeah.
I've never heard
They're
such.
fast, too.
They can be. Yeah.
That's hilarious. I've never heard of guard pigs.
Listen, I'd rather be bit by a dog any day of the week than I would a pig.
What?
Yeah. Dude, watch Old Yeller.
Oh, yeah. Have you ever seen Old
It's
Yeller?
been a while.
That dog gets tore up.
I was a wee lad.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite Friends episodes where Phoebe is they're watching Old Yeller, and she's like, "Oh, it's one of my favorite shows." They're like, "What are you talking about?" And she's like, "Yeah, it's great." Her parents always turned it off, and then she was traumatized as an adult because they let her watch the end of it. So anyway, there you go. Sorry.
There's a comedian out there right now. He does a bit about a dog and his dad, and he talks about he's like, yeah, my dad, he got really, really sick, and he had cancer, and we found out, and about 6 months later he passed away. And he goes the really sad part was after he died, I took care of my dad's dog, and he would often go sit in my dad's chair. And about 6 months after my dad died, the dog passed away in the chair. And as the guy's telling the joke, the whole audience goes, "Aw," and he's like, "Forget all y'all. Y'all didn't say aw about my dad. Y'all said aw about the dog. You're horrible people." It's true. It's true. Everyone listening to that story right now, even as I told it poorly, everyone was like, "Oh, the dog."
Yeah, I was thinking it.
Yeah.
That's funny. That's funny.
That is funny.
Yeah.
Well, okay, so if I am,
You got to transition. You got to titillate.
it's not going to happen. I've already been titillated
It's
once.
not so easy, is it?
Now that I've been titillated tonight, I can't be titillated again. So my question is, if I'm, because this is kind of the position that I'm going to be in at some point in the near future, hopefully, is I want to buy a pool, build the pool in the backyard, where do I begin? Like that's a
like as far as like where the location is.
I mean, no. I mean, I think I can figure out where. But more like, what do I need to be thinking about? What types of things do I need to be concerned about? Should I like when people walk in and they start talking to you, and you're like, man, I wish people would just know that they need to have already thought about this. What are those things? What does that look like?
The first thing I would say absolutely is, do you have any easements or any like setbacks, any sort of that in your yard? Because I've had a couple family friends like buy their house, not realize that they've got a freaking 20-foot easement.
They can't build a pool
in a 25-foot yard.
Oof.
And it's just like, you can't even set foot. Like, this is not your yard. This is the power company's yard.
Wow.
So that'd be the first thing. I would say go back and don't buy your house if it has a super easement.
Right.
What we need to start with is you need to sell this place.
That's where we start.
What is the return policy? Is this like Amazon? You can just refund it to my card?
Yeah, Zillow's working on that.
Is part of that just having like a good survey of your property?
Well, so that's the first thing. Get the survey. You have to have the survey. And a lot of HOAs won't accept the plot plan. Like, it has to be an actual survey.
Right.
Okay.
So yeah, make sure you have the survey on deck. And then really that's really like the biggest thing, honestly. There's a couple things. Do you want geometric or do you want freeform? Do you want salt? Do you want chlorine?
I was going to ask you about that.
We need to talk about that in a minute. Yeah. Keep going.
So there's a couple. That's really the main things.
And most people, I would assume, don't know the difference. And we've had a couple of episodes with pool guys on it, and one of the first ones that we ever did with Jason, I
think it was like episode 3.
Yeah, it was so early. We talked about like pools that have salt water versus chlorine, and I mean, he basically, it's funny. Like, I would be real interested to hear your opinion, because he basically said, look, salt water is great, but it's going to cost more because the pump isn't going to last as long. Is basically what he said. You're going to have to replace the pump more often, those sorts of things, but you have less chemicals and less issues with that. So there's like this weird trade-off, but a lot of people go the salt route because they think it's going to be cheaper because you don't have to pay for the chemicals as much, but then they're like, oh, here's a $7,000 pump you got to replace, and they weren't planning on that. And so it like, I don't know. So I think
a lot of people that are even like, trying to make that decision are making they and whether they are or they aren't, think they're making a health decision.
Oh, okay.
Because chlorine's, I mean, it's a harsh chemical.
Yeah.
To be, like if you have blonde hair, it's going to turn to green. That ain't right.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
So I mean, I'd imagine that's something that's going on in a lot of people's minds.
So yeah, to do the salt chlorine debate, I always say that I want my friend to have a saltwater pool, because I enjoy like the little taste and like the way the water feels and swimming around the saltwater pool. But I don't think I would do a saltwater pool. But there's a setback. There's a trade-off, a give and take. With the salt, you are going to have less chemicals, but it is going to be harsher on your plumbing. But not just that, it's going to be harsher on your furniture and your deck and your toys and everything, because that salt's more corrosive. You get out and you're dripping salt water all over your chair, and now it's all rusty and it's all corroded and this and that. You are going to have more kind of deposits,
sediment
on your water line.
Sure.
If you don't keep that thing scrubbed, if you don't have somebody scrubbing that like once a week, like you're getting deposits on that. The thing with chlorine, though, I'm kind of a health nut. My wife, we're super organic and all that sort of stuff, so I don't want chlorine all over the place either.
Yeah.
The thing now is they have the UV and ozone filters. And so really what that does is it uses UV light and ozone, O3, 3 oxygen molecules, as an antibacterial, antimicrobial of all sorts, really, before. So you go from the pump, and you go to the UV and the ozone, and then you go to the chlorine, and then we go out to the pool. So that's kind of the order of things.
Okay.
The idea there is that the water is going to be fully sanitized at that point. Like it's going to be completely completely clean.
Yeah.
So you don't have to use that much chlorine anymore.
Oh, okay.
Interesting.
Because
do you have like any numbers or ideas how much reduction in use?
it's about half.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So you almost effectively, because in a saltwater pool, there's still chlorine in it.
Sure. Yeah.
It's just not very much.
Right.
And so essentially we've achieved that without salt.
Yeah.
Now there is still more chlorine in it than there would be in a saltwater pool, but we're not going to have green hair and red eyes anymore. You're not going to have a smell, and you also don't have to worry about the rust and the corrosion.
Yeah.
And up front, it's the exact same cost. So if you do the chlorine with the UV and the ozone filter, it ends up being, at least at our company, the exact same cost as if you did a salt filter.
Okay.
And the maintenance on that is not anything. I mean, you got to change the UV bulb like every 2 or 3 years, and it's like $75. So it's not a big deal.
So where does the ozone come from?
The sun.
That's a good question. That's a good question.
They bottled the sun.
Well, like in our industry, there's machines that you can like use that actually produce ozone. But like I always look at that and go, is it like in a canister? Like where is it coming from? Like I'm asking because I literally don't know like how it works.
I don't either. I would imagine it's part of the filter and the pump, and there's some chemistry in there that it produces the third oxygen molecule. I honestly don't know. I'm a designer.
Yeah. No. We've looked at it for our business because like ozone can be very dangerous to like be exposed to.
Mm-hmm. It's like one of the air pollutants that they measure as far as air pollution.
So so you can use it for lots of different stuff.
Yeah.
It's just not good for you to be exposed to it.
Yeah.
I mean, directly.
Yeah.
No. But anyway.
I mean, I don't have any more questions.
Do you feel prepared?
Yeah, I got everything answered now.
Are you ready? You ready to buy a pool?
No, I don't have any money, but like, you convinced me that I mean, I don't know. Like, it's one of those things where we live. I mean, it's so hot in the summer, and when I say the summer, I mean like 8 months out of the year.
Yeah.
Like. Literally, we were swimming in our pool. We've got an above ground. That probably didn't make any sense when I first said it. We've got a very large above ground pool. But we were swimming in it till like beginning of October.
Yep.
And we'll probably be swimming in it, I don't know, like April. I mean, it's just the way it goes. I mean, Craig has a pool, and his is heated, so like he can be in it all the time, which is good that it's heated because it's under a roof. And because it's under a roof, it's cold otherwise. Even in the summer, it's cold.
Oh, yeah.
My pool easily be 65 degrees in the middle of the summer.
Yeah. That's incredible.
Like if I don't heat it up. Like
that's awesome. That's nice.
I mean,
it's freezing.
Yeah, it's 102.
Well, like my kids have gotten used to it. Like they're
I don't know how they do it.
They're very cold tolerant, but like they'll get out and they're blue.
Yeah, my son will come over and swim, and he's like, dude, you got to sit out and warm up because you're blue.
Yeah.
You're blue. But yeah,
that's
I mean,
awesome.
well, whenever it gets no sun at all, then it has no sanitation. Ozone.
Oh yeah.
I'm just saying that. I don't know what I'm talking about.
Well, no, like with ours, I know, like for ours, we don't have to put as much chlorine in ours, and mostly that's because it has no UV exposure.
Right.
Yeah.
Like there's nothing breaking it down. Yes, that's really why you have to replace it and replenish it, is because the UV light breaks pretty much everything down.
Yeah, you don't have to put any stabilizer in there or anything like that.
Right.
I would assume. So
yeah, you're not getting as many pollutants into it either.
Yeah, no leaves.
Yeah.
I mean, none of that kind of. I mean, like the occasional lizard falls in, but I mean, other than that,
that's just a game. Yeah. Is he gonna? Yeah. He did it.
It's Godzilla in training.
He's right. That's right. But no, I mean, I think that it's one of those things that so many people in Houston have pools, and it's not just because it's a luxury. It's almost like a necessity. Like I need something to just, if I want to be outside, literally, if I want to be outside, I have to have something to be in.
Yeah.
Because otherwise it's just miserable to be outside. And so I think it's one of the things that attracts a lot of people to HOAs that have pools, and I don't have to worry about it. But man, there's nothing like walking outside and just getting in the pool and then walking back inside. There's nothing like it.
Yeah, you get done mowing the yard or something,
Yes.
just hop in.
I cannot tell you how many times I did that.
Yeah.
I was so happy. It's the first time in my life I've ever had a pool in my backyard. And even though it was, above ground pool, like it was pretty deep still.
Still water.
It was like 52 inches or something.
It's pretty deep.
Yeah, it's pretty deep. 22 feet. It's a big pool. It's like 14,000 gallons. So, I mean, it's a pretty big pool.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
Yeah, it is.
That's huge. Like as much as a regular pool.
I know. It's huge. But anyway, that being said, like I'm very confident that whenever I do get a pool, I'm gonna pay someone to take care of it.
Yeah,
because I do not enjoy taking care of the pool. It's just a lot of work.
Yeah, that's
I don't have time for it.
It's pretty common to have. Very few. I don't know the percentage of my customers, but I think it's probably pretty few that are doing it all themselves.
I mean, it literally, just because I've been taking care of the ones we got, and I mean, pretty much once or twice a week, you got to go get the water tested if you don't have a test kit at home. And then it's like, well, I don't know what to do with all this. They got to tell me, I got to buy all the chemicals, and then I got to figure out, okay, how much of this, and it's right, and then I got to test it again. It's just like, and then I got to clean it out. There's the leaves, there's just the buildup that gets in there. There's all this kind of stuff, and I'm just like, man, it's a lot of work. And I think that's one of the things that people don't always understand. Like, oh, I want to buy a pool, I want to put a pool in. They don't realize, like, once you buy the expensive pool, then you got to maintain the expensive pool, and that's why it's a luxury.
Yeah,
really, I think.
Yeah, it's like getting a pet.
It is.
Yeah, it's like, are you gonna walk it? Are you gonna feed it?
Yeah.
But this one's a science project, trying to figure out the getting the chemicals right. And if you don't get the chemicals right, now we've got a green pool, and you got their water line tiles, got all kinds of deposits on it, and all that sort of stuff.
It happened to us. We wound up with our pool being green, but it wasn't like. What was weird about it is it wasn't algae that was built up. It was settling to the bottom, but our robot vacuum wasn't picking it up because the particles were too small. So we tried to counterbalance it with some stuff, and I wound up over-chlorinating accidentally. And by doing so, I couldn't do anything to get it down, and so I had to drain like half the pool.
Jeez.
Which, we're on a well. It wasn't that big of a deal. Like, I just put the water hose back in. But for a lot of people, I mean, that's... it's frustrating if nothing else.
Absolutely.
Like, anyway.
Yeah, you definitely. We offer the service afterwards.
Okay.
To keep it in check and like that, because, I mean, if I'm not taking care of mine, like, it's just not going to happen. No. I could intend to, and it's still not going to happen.
Well, because there's all kinds of things that happen, right? Like, you got off work late. Or, something happened, or I got a business trip, or I want to go on vacation. Yeah. Or whatever. The football game's on. Like,
anything but this.
Anything but that. And it's a chore. It's not just a chore. It is like a nuisance whenever it comes to that.
It's not one of those that you can just you can do it for 5 minutes and then come back to it tomorrow. Like, no. Once you get into it, you gotta
finish.
You gotta finish.
Yeah, and I'm looking at mine right now, and I'm going, it is what it is.
I was looking at it today too. I was like, oh.
I know. I got to go work on it a while.
Mainly
it's just there's leaves in the entire thing.
So I have a bone to pick with you design guys. So I grew up in Central Florida.
Okay.
And every pool not every pool, that's oversimplification. Most of the pools that I encountered in Central Florida had screen covers.
Like over the top?
Yeah, the whole thing.
Yeah.
It's the sides, the top, but it was just screened. And it was like a metal frame, but then there was screened, and it would keep leaves.
Oh, you mean like the whole backyard?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a big Florida thing.
It is.
Yeah.
And like when I moved down here, everyone complains about, I got to clean the pool because there's so many pine needles. And I'm like, well, just put a freaking screen over there. I've seen a couple of them here.
Yeah, I almost did one.
Did you?
We didn't do it, no. But I almost did a pool for a guy who was doing the one.
He wanted one like that.
Yeah.
Okay. And I'm just curious, like, why is that not a thing here?
I think they're just expensive.
Yeah.
I don't know, because we got mosquitoes too.
Exactly. Yeah. It keeps mosquitoes out. I mean,
it'd be nice. I don't know. I guess it's just not a thing.
And it's not like new technology. I mean, I'm talking like back in like the 80s, man.
Yeah.
I was like,
it's like an aluminum frame with just a net.
That's it.
Yeah.
So there is a house on 105 not far from here that has one.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's so sorry if you're not from here. But if you go past the HEB on 336 on the right, there's one that has a screen.
Interesting.
Yeah, I think I've seen that.
I thought it was a baseball, like hitting.
Well, I think if most people saw that, they would probably think, oh, that's like a batting cage or something, because there's a lot of people that have those.
Sure.
It's a different kind of netting for sure. It's I mean, it almost looks. It's like the same kind of screening you would put on a back porch to close it in.
Yeah.
So I was talking to someone just today who's from Florida, and they were talking about this very thing, and he has a relative that builds those things and installs them, but there's very few people that are doing this. On the inside of his, you can make them to where, and I don't think this is totally uncommon, to where the looking outside in, you can't see in.
Oh, okay.
But looking from the inside out, you can see out.
A two-way screen.
Two-way, yeah.
You have naughty pool time.
Right. Which is super awkward because you think everybody's watching you. But he said that what's amazing about this specific
ballsy.
one. Yeah, it is. Totally.
Let's test this.
Right. He said that the inside, he's designing like whatever you want it to look like it's an oasis or a beach or like it's art on the inside.
That's crazy.
And he said it's really, really unique because there's only like 2 or 3 people in the United States, from what I can understand, that are actually manufacturing these that way.
That's cool.
It is super cool. And part of me was like, well, there's not that many people that are actually building those screens. So anyway, or at least putting them up, not here in Texas at least. So.
Yeah. But I mean, like if you walked into somebody's backyard and saw that'd be kind of.
That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah. I mean, like you would. I mean, like you've never seen that before.
No.
Yeah.
So
that's totally unique.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's a lot of bang for your buck, because I imagine it's not much more expensive than like the regular screens.
I wouldn't think so.
So
I mean, now the two-way thing. I mean, I don't know. I mean, it reminds me of like cars that are wrapped. You know, from the outside you can't really see in, but from the inside you can see out.
Yeah.
You know, that's what it reminds me of.
which is illegal now. In the front seat.
Oh yeah, it is. So it's been illegal for a long time. Like you can't tint your front 2 windows like a certain certain amount.
You can tint the back ones still, I think.
You can black them out.
Yeah.
But anyway.
All right, I want to know the craziest pool you've done so far.
Or most extravagant.
Sure.
Is that what you mean?
Yeah, we can file that under the same category. Why not?
Yeah, I've done a couple real crazy ones that didn't go through.
Okay.
Oh man, bummer.
But yeah, I mean, I've done a couple crazy ones. I'm doing one right now. We literally just dug it yesterday.
Oh, okay.
It was the most extravagant or like most expensive just pool that I had done. They didn't do no covered structure, no fire pit or kitchen or anything like that. Just the pool was the most extravagant one. I mean, they've got, they got the Infinity Edge spa all the way around, spills over into a little basin. The basin's got lights in it. They've got 3 bubblers, water bowls coming out.
What's a bubbler? I don't know.
These are the fountains.
Spring at the bottom.
These are the fountains you're looking for.
Okay, all right. I need to know this then.
These are those.
The bubbly.
I make you think of the White House, sort of. The little just bubblers bubbling up in front.
Yeah.
Then it's got 2 bowls full of water that spill over in, 2 troughs on each side, a real big waterfall in the middle with all these raised walls coming out of it. And then they've got the in-floor cleaning system, which is something I've been meaning to talk about. That it's got these it's got jets. We send out the plans to the engineers at these companies, and they'll determine exactly where these jets need to go, and they place them in the floor of the pool. And then we've got a separate pump that runs to them, and they're rigged up so that they'll come up and they'll spray water, and it'll spray the debris into the line of sight of the next jet. It'll shoot up, spray water, and they just shoot up and they spray all the water into the drain, and it just essentially is cleaning your pool for you at all times.
That's cool.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's as maintenance free as you can get. You still got to pay somebody to come take care of it.
Yeah,
Sure.
Yeah.
But it's pretty much
Taking a load off them for sure.
yeah. So off the top of my head, that's the craziest one. But I've had a couple that were like, man, I hope they buy this because it's gonna be like,
Yeah.
where it was, just the pool itself, gigantic
Yeah.
fire pit sunken into like the middle of the pool,
Oh, that's cool.
and then the pool spills over into a basin. Down in that basin, you've got bar stools with a kitchen that comes up to that basin. So you've got a covered kitchen out there, and then there's a big bar, and you can be in the pool or you can be in the outdoor kitchen area, kind of eating together.
Yeah.
Coming off of that spillover with the fire pit in the pool, spa, fountains,
awesome.
whole 9 yards.
Jeez. We were looking at like crazy Airbnbs in Texas one day, and like there's a couple that have like pools that are like half an acre.
Yeah.
Like they're so massive. I think this one said it would easily accommodate 100 people in the pool.
Jeez.
But now who knows how much that thing costs to just build, let alone take care of on a daily basis,
Well, Airbnb's got a whole section of houses, like they got a whole pool section.
Really? Okay.
Like you can choose to go to an Airbnb that just like because it has a sick pool.
Oh, nice.
So that's actually, I've done a pool for somebody who was like, yeah, this is just our Airbnb house, and we wanted it to have a pool because
People want that.
you can charge a lot more, and it flies off. It's
Yeah,
always
people
booked.
want it.
And
Yeah.
so that's actually a whole like category on Airbnb now.
Doesn't surprise me.
So do you guys know that most like professional surfers in the world come to Texas to train?
Out in Austin
Waco.
or Waco.
Oh,
Yeah.
Waco.
Yeah.
It's like one of the biggest wave pools in the world.
Yeah.
Like, and it's like consistent, like strong trough waves and
Crazy.
yeah. So and I forget the name of the place, but yeah, it's a massive pool.
Yeah. I don't. I can't imagine. I went to. Where did we go? We went to Splash Town.
Yeah.
This past summer, and just looking at it from like a pool builder perspective, I was like, "Oh my gosh, I don't even want to look." I don't.
Yeah.
Well, we
just
went
go down the slide.
We went to Kalahari this last summer.
Yeah, I heard about that.
And like, I mean, obviously different with the slides and all that kind of stuff, but you look at things like a wave pool, these kiddie areas, and then like they've got this one huge, massive area that's just it's got basketball goals all in it, and the whole thing, like when you think about it from an operational standpoint, you go, man, they've probably got a team of who knows how many that all they do is maintenance this thing.
Yeah.
Like and not just
Stresses me out.
yeah.
I don't want to think
I
about.
know. And I'm just thinking about like the ingenuity that goes into a water park. Like let alone that's a water park. It's what it is. But like some of these places like Hurricane Harbor and some of these places are just water parks. I'm like, holy cow, like
Well, yeah, but like the difference between like Hurricane Harbor, Splashtown, whatever it's called, and then like Kalahari and Great Wolf Lodge, like Kalahari and Great Wolf Lodge, those are all interconnected.
Yeah.
Like swimming pools, basically.
Yeah.
Like it's like one giant pool but like, Hurricane Harbor, like there's that slide over there, and that's its own pool, and then there's the wave pool over there, and that's its own system. And so like that one can get shut down.
Sure.
But like one of those places, like if something goes wrong, like it's all connected in there.
Yeah.
Like,
What a nightmare.
Yeah.
I cannot imagine.
No.
I'm not that good of a designer.
I couldn't do it, huh?
I couldn't do it.
yeah, it's just it's a marvel really whenever you start thinking about all that entails.
Is there a feature on a pool that you really want to like include that you haven't had the chance to yet, like on a design?
That's a good question. I've designed.
You've designed some stuff that just hasn't been done.
I've never gotten to actually. I've designed pretty much everything I want, but I haven't gotten to build everything yet. I think basically that one that I was talking about, the fire pit. I mean, I've put a fire pit sunken in like next to it, but I haven't put one like in. Yeah. I'd also would like to do a like a pergola, like a real big pergola that's kind of got the angle, and the footers like 10 feet deep, so it doesn't have to have a front post.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like,
it's cantilevered.
Yeah, cantilevered. I want to do like a real big cantilevered, but
look at you with the vocabulary.
Hey, look, I might be titillated, but I still know the word cantilevered.
Yes, cantilevered. Yeah,
wasn't so titillated I couldn't do the vocab section on the SATs.
Right. Some of you think I'm just stupid, and
well.
Anyway, what were we talking about?
Cantilever.
Cantilever.
Yeah,
that's right. That would be cool. Like, I think that, to me, there's really no end to what you could do. It's just a matter of, do the parts exist, or could someone build it? You know, like, I think that it's amazing to see some of these things, and it's interesting. I think especially with COVID, one of the things that we learned, we learned a lot, but one of the things we learned was that there's something about being out and with your family and having a place to have people, and you're not just by yourself all the time. And so having a place outside that you can be, and that, to me, that's probably where these outdoor kitchens and the fire pits and the, just having a place to be outside. And honestly, it's one of the reasons we want to buy some land, and why people buy land is they just want to be out a little bit more and not feel like
they can't dig their own pond.
Doesn't matter how much land you have. If you got a family that won't let you dig a pond, I don't know. I just think it's a really, really cool thing, and I mean, I'm curious how many people, like, when they're buying houses right now, they specifically are like, I do want that. If it doesn't have that, I don't want to build it. And it's one of those things where I wonder, like, at what point does a homeowner go, look, I'm going to build an outdoor kitchen because I know it's going to sell my house, whatever. You're never going to get your money back on that.
Yeah.
It's not going to be cost effective, although it make your sell go faster, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, so that's on to that point. Usually from a real estate standpoint, you really only get about 5 to 7% value increase, which I would be tempted to argue that if you build something incredible,
for sure. Yeah,
you might get a little bit more return on that.
Well,
it does sell.
Yeah, the swimming pool that you put on a 3-2 home. I mean, typically a 3-2 home doesn't have. I mean, we're talking like maybe a 15,000 square foot lot. I mean, you're not going to be able to put that big of a pool.
Oh yeah, no.
Right. But like when you start talking about a house that's a 5,000, 6,000 square foot home that's like sitting on half an acre.
Yeah,
I've seen these houses, and like the pool that they put in some of these,
they're incredible.
And like we're talking about like caves.
Yeah,
and sunken fire pit, like the whole thing. Like that adds value to that house. You put that pool on that 3-2, like it's just not going to do that much for it. But like when it adds to the aesthetic of the home, like you go from like nowadays it's like a $1 million home to like $1.5 million, right?
Yeah,
real quick.
You've got to do a good job with it, and we usually kind of the rule of thumb is like you kind of want to shoot for around 20% of the home value for the pool. So,
which is a lot from it. I mean, like that.
Yeah.
I mean that.
Yeah.
I agree with you.
Like if you've got $1 million home, like you should be putting around a $200,000 pool.
Yeah.
Anything less than that might not do your home justice.
Right.
That's interesting. I'd never thought about that.
Yeah, I mean it's not a hard number, but
it's a rule of thumb.
It'll get you kind of in the right area.
Okay, have you ever done a swim in, swim out type of pool? Because that would be sweet.
What do you mean?
Oh, I'm outside now. I'm inside.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I haven't had the architectural freedom.
Because really,
I can tell you why you don't want to do that.
Well,
because I've had to fix that problem for somebody.
I'm sure there's so many reasons, but that almost seems like it's got to be built when the house is built.
Yeah,
you know?
so
yeah, for sure.
That does happen a lot of times.
Unless you're doing like an addition.
Sure.
If you've got like a real big custom and we're out ahead of it, and you understand like that when you're pouring the foundation for the house is we're gonna just do the gunite and all of that at the same time. Because if you do something like that, you risk messing up the foundation.
Sure.
Yeah.
Digging that close to it. You really don't want to go more than like 5 feet from the foundation. You can go. I've gone closer than that. I've gone like 3 feet before.
Pretty small backyard, I'd imagine.
Yeah, that's only by necessity.
Yeah.
When you got an easement, and a fence, and then
getting butt up against it. Yeah,
Yeah.
you know, we actually had we had a friend growing up that had a indoor pool, and I was like, dude,
that's crazy.
There's something nutty about your family. Like, what do you do? They were farmers. I mean, everybody where I grew up was farmers. But
They were sick of being outside.
Exactly. But I've even seen pools that are like in the middle of a house. Like some crazy stuff. Like you built your pool in the like it's a.
It'd be cool if like in a courtyard.
Yeah, it's exactly kind of what it was.
That'd
But
be awesome.
it was like in a glass ceiling area. It was kind of this. It was indoor completely, but still had the light from outside because it was glass roof and all that kind of stuff. It was just really, really interesting.
Yeah, that just feels. The first thing that I think about that is just humidity.
Yeah,
that just
that's
feels
the problem.
like a steam.
Yeah, that's exactly what I remember about that pool that my friend had growing up. I was like, you walk into it and it's like,
it's
awful.
not really refreshing.
Which is actually one of the things that whenever I was at Kalahari that I was shocked about. It did not feel that way.
Really?
Like this massive indoor water park, and it does not feel humid.
Were you there in the summer? Or?
I was in, yeah.
Yeah, I imagine
we
it's
were
different
there,
in the winter.
We were there in August, but like it was just every time I'd walked into something like that. Great Wolf Lodge was even this way.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, wow, this is just like a different atmosphere, right? The other thing is all their stuff was salt.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Well, that may help.
Yeah, it may help with the humidity.
Well, they call it Kalahari.
Yeah.
It better be dry.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. It's a good point.
It better be.
It's a good point.
All right, I had a question, and I was gonna tell you about one of the craziest pools I've ever seen. But I don't know why this even. I see a lot of people putting in koi ponds.
Mm-hmm.
Is that something you guys do?
No, not that I've ever done.
Because in my head I was wondering if anybody's ever incorporated, like not in the pool, but like a pool, and then next to that pool is the fish tank. Yeah. Like the big fish tank.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, I mean, especially if you could put like a glass
and you could see
you can see in there. Yeah. That'd be.
Oh yeah.
So there you go.
Fantastic.
You can sell that to somebody now.
Fantastic. Yeah. I'll do that.
That's a thick piece of glass too.
Like it is, but like it could be really fun.
We do that. We have done like glass walls.
Oh, okay.
You do that sort of. Done that like kind of near like an outdoor kitchen sort of thing.
Uh-huh.
It ends up being funny. You just see people's legs while they're drinking.
Yeah, like what are you? Why are you?
You could do it. You could do it with a spa.
Yeah,
that sort of stuff. You can. The kids love it.
Yeah,
the koi pond is the most functional use of it. Because you're actually seeing
you
like
can see the
fish swim around instead
that's
of just.
What I'd want to go underwater and.
Yeah,
that'd be cool to me.
That's a great idea.
So all right, so craziest one I ever saw. When we bought this place, we basically had to gut the house, and we needed the window over the kitchen was about the size of the window behind you right there, and so tore out all the cabinets and put in like a 7-foot window over the sink. Well, it took me forever to find the window. I found it on Craigslist, and so I wrote the person and I was like, hey, they had a bunch of them, like stacks of them.
It's weird.
And it was weird.
It's Craigslist.
Yeah. So I wrote them and said, hey, I'd love to come take a look at the window. I'm really interested in buying it. I need it pretty quick. He said, come on out. So they sent me the address. I pull up to this property. Have I ever told you about this? No? So I pull up to the property, and I can take you guys there. It's probably still there because it's over off of Rayford. And I pull up, and there's army tents, and then greenhouses, and then this big house behind this giant wall of ivy.
Yeah, you told me this.
And this old lady comes out to meet me, and she starts talking to me, really, really sweet lady. And I'm like, hey, I'm the guy here to look at the window. And she goes, oh, yeah. So she takes me back to one of the army tents, and she pulls back the curtain, and there's just a stack of these windows. And like half of them have been eaten by termites, and da-da-da. And I'm like, so I'm just like a naturally curious dude. And so like I just start asking questions like, hey, what, you know. And she's like, oh, well, me and my friends, we all live here. And for a while, we got into the house building business. And these are all the materials that we have left over. And that's what's in all these tents. And it's just building materials in these tents. Wow. They've got stacked and stacked and stacked. I think I paid like $300 for the window. It was nothing. And
that's nice.
And so at the time, I was really into aquaponics. Are you familiar with that?
I don't think so.
You know what hydroponics are?
Just explain this.
So hydroponics is where you grow food in soilless containers.
Okay.
Aquaponics is when you introduce fish into the ecosystem.
Okay.
You filter the water through the fish poop and pee in the water, and then that fertilizes the plants. Nice. And so it's a complete cycle.
Okay, yeah.
And it's a really interesting way to grow food.
Yeah.
They had an aquaponics greenhouse at this place. And so as I get deeper and deeper into this thing, this lady's like, yeah, we've got this lady here. And I forget what she told me her IQ was. It was just like off the charts.
Yeah.
And she's an inventor. And so she builds all this stuff, and then she gets bored with it. And then we have to replicate it, and we sell it, and like just all. And
this is the strangest.
Yeah. Yeah. So like, and at this point, like I've been there like an hour, and I'm like, well, if I'm here, I want to learn as much as I can. So she's taking me. She's like, you want to come see the shop? I was like, yeah, I want to come see the shop. Yeah, come check it out. She's wired everything with 9-volt. All the lights, all the fans, and she's
with the Duracell.
Yeah, right. Yeah, and she shows me like this thing that she calls the dragon heater, and it's this thing this lady invented to burn smoke. So it's a smokeless radiating heater, and like I'm telling you, it was just like the most bizarre thing. And
off of Rayford.
Yeah.
Sounds about right.
Not far off 45, right?
No. Yeah, like right there off 45. And it like
that's exactly the place.
As I go deeper and deeper, it's a old lady hippie commune, man, and I'm not even like exaggerating. Like there was probably 20 ladies living there, and they were all in their mid to late 50s to their 70s, and they're all just living there together. And she goes, "Hey, you need to come check out the house."
Yes, I do.
And I was like, yes, I do. So we're at the greenhouse now, and she's like, well, come around here, and there's like that giant wall of ivy I was telling you about. Mm-hmm. I go around behind the ivy, and it opens up into this water paradise behind the house. It is a massive swimming pool, except it's not a swimming pool. It's like a pond that just goes right up to the house. And I know that it's a pond because I can see the fish swimming around in it, and there's like fish, and then like a waterfall, and then like another pond, and then a waterfall, and then another pond.
What?
And there's plants all around the edge of it. And she goes, you got to come check out our pool. And there's a little old lady swimming in it when I walk up. And I was like, what do you mean your swimming pool? And she goes, it's our natural swimming pool. And I was like, what are you talking about? She goes, all the plants that we plant around it are filtration system.
Yeah.
They filter the water.
Yep.
And she goes, and if you look down there, that's our breeding pool for the fish. And like, it's just the craziest thing.
Well, we got to get on Craigslist.
Yeah.
Do we need anything? I got to go see if they're selling.
Yeah, right. I've told that story a few times, and every time I'm like, man, I need to go back over there.
Yeah.
I mean, like just to go like see if they're all still alive.
That's insane. I'm gonna get on the map and see if I can find this place.
I can show you on the map. I'll show you after the show.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's nuts.
So anyway, it's the story of my window.
Wow.
And now you know.
Now you know.
The window.
All right. Well,
it's a good window.
I'm gonna transition again.
Okay.
Is there anything that we haven't talked about that you're like, yeah, we probably need to talk about that?
The process, the construction.
Oh yeah.
Of doing it.
Yep.
Because this is where things get this is where things get dicey.
Okay.
Hang on, we had a question come through, and I need to. Ryan Adel wanted to know. Can you pull that up on the screen?
I got it right here.
I got a question.
So I want everyone to know that Ryan really wanted to know whether the old lady was naked.
this sounds like. I'm kind of thinking that some of them were.
Yeah. I don't know.
What?
Because she didn't come out of the water.
Okay.
And I wasn't hanging around to find out.
Yeah. Yeah, she was hanging around.
And she was not my type.
Not my type.
Oh, man, I had you pegged for a...
Swing low, sweet chariots.
Roll those things back up. All right, let's go.
Oh, man, that's incredible.
All right, the process.
So the process for us usually takes around 8 to 10 weeks. We'll dig, we'll do rebar, we'll do plumbing stub outs, we'll do gunite, we'll do plumbing. We'll clean up after the gunite because it's usually a disaster after that.
It's just messy. They just spray, right?
Well, yeah, they spray the gunite, so they're hanging plastic all over everywhere to keep it from getting on your house and on your fence and your dog and the neighbors and everything. So then they clean up after that, and then they do the plumbing and electrical. So they're trenching, doing all that sort of stuff. You got to go from the electrical and the gas meters. So that's something to think about before you're getting, like, where do you want the equipment pad? Because ideally you want them as close to the electrical and the gas meters as possible.
Okay.
It's just less trench, less wiring that you have to do. Then from there, then they'll start doing the tile around the edge, the coping around the edge. Then they'll do the decking. And then they'll do the plaster, fill it up, get the chemicals going, and you're pretty much ready to go.
Mm-hmm.
The thing about the process is that it's messy. It takes a long time.
About on average, about how long?
8 to 10 weeks.
Okay.
But most people are used to ordering something on Amazon and it's here tomorrow or today or the next day. It just takes time. There's
there's just no way around it.
I mean, if you were the only customer on earth and every 100% of our efforts were on your pool, it might not take quite that long.
Yeah.
But, we've got
stuff's got to dry, stuff's got to cure. Yeah.
Stuff's got to cure, stuff's got to dry. There's just a certain amount of time that it's going to take. And then it rained.
Yeah.
And then it was Thanksgiving. And then it was this and that. So, like, there's going to be delays. And the funny thing about it is the smoothest, the best projects that we do are the ones where the customers are not upset. And it's not that we did a good job so they weren't upset. It's that they were upset first, usually, and then things get messed up. Mm-hmm. Like, I had a customer who, this was his second home. We were doing a pool for him in his second home, and he spent the entire construction process in his first home. And believe it or not, we were able to take care of the entire process without him there at the house.
Yeah.
Telling us if we did it right or not.
Right.
And it's like a gorgeous, perfect, flawless. We got it done fast, easy, like boom.
Yeah.
And so a lot of times I think customers shoot themselves in the foot by just getting too involved.
Interjecting themselves into the process.
Interjecting because it doesn't go. It's not really built the way that you would maybe initially think.
Well, and I don't know, but my guess is that the majority of these people are not building their own pool because they don't know how to build pools, right?
Yeah.
But then
all of a sudden
they walk out their back door and they're like,
This isn't right.
This isn't right. You did this wrong. I'm like, no, I didn't.
Yeah.
So
that's,
I'm a pool builder. You're not a pool builder. You can go back into your house and turn on Top Gun again. Whatever.
If you could say that,
that would be great.
You might, but but yeah.
Have you fed your dogs yet? They're all over me. Yeah. Maybe you should feed them. Go do something else, please.
Yeah.
Pardon me, Professor.
Yeah, it's funny. It's funny how it actually ends up being just the more patient and the more just.
Well, the problem is
the better it goes.
I'm just spending $150,000 on this pool, and therefore, trust me, I'm putting my 2 cents in.
So that's absolutely true, and so then it is sort of where we lose our leg to stand on is like, I understand. Like, you have absolutely spent a lot of money.
Yeah.
You deserve a premium product.
Yeah.
And we are going to give you a premium product in 3 months.
Right.
Just hang on.
Just back up.
It's going to be okay. And that is usually what you're going to see. At least with us, we see everybody at the end. They say this is fantastic, and we absolutely love it. Mm-hmm. It's just usually a bit of a rockier road to get there than people are expecting.
Yeah.
And I know that, and so I try to manage that expectation, and it's still hard. It's like it's gonna be worse than you think.
Sure.
And
well, because they only have the finished product in their brain.
Yeah.
Like they don't. No one ever has like every step of the process having to do with this pool in their brain.
The grass is dead.
Yeah.
And there's dirt everywhere, and there's dirt.
You've ruined everything.
Like, like it is. It's going to be muddy. It's going to be, the grass is dying, and it's taking a little bit longer than you thought, and the fence has a little orange thing on it, and so it does take a while, but the best customers are the most patient ones.
Yeah. When you say the orange thing, is that like the orange fencing that?
Just the construction fence is.
That is the ugliest stuff on the face of the planet. It's the worst.
It's ugly.
I get the purpose, but like it is ugly.
So how many how many people do you like? You've dug the pool, you started the rebar, and they're like, I don't like the design. I don't like it. Like,
I've never had that.
Like, could you please?
It's like, Kevin, please.
I actually
I'm not good.
You made it all curvy, and I want it straight now. Like,
if you ever. Oh my goodness!
Because you've already spent like how many hours on this design, right? And you've approved it how many times, right?
Oh, that's the thing. The curvy ones take so much longer in every single way. Mm-hmm. It's so much in the software, because we design it on software, and you get a 3D rendering. I make your house look like your house. Mm-hmm. If you've got a potted plant right here, I put it there. Like, it looks like your house.
Right.
And so I was having to do all this software and the curves, and it just isn't. It is not easy. But this is your pool.
Yeah.
And you're paying a lot for it. It's a premium product. I'm going to do it. That's my job. And then we got to do plans for the HOA. So we take care of all the plans for the HOA. Yes. I do the construction. I'd fill out the applications.
Turnkey.
Yeah. And so,
nice.
So again, I've had to deal with these curves. Yeah. I'll come out, with a mark out paint, and I'll paint the pool in your yard, in the grass, so you can see, how it looks,
and
how
see the footprint. Yeah.
You can see it. And then right before we dig, you've got to sign off on the plans saying we did everything that you thought we were going to do. We've done it all right. This is it. So if we've gotten to rebar and you've decided you don't like it, I mean, tough.
Yeah.
Yeah, you've had every opportunity to adjust.
You're going to see the side of me that I didn't think I was going to show.
I didn't think I even had that side.
But there it is.
It might come out.
There it is.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Could be kind of fun.
I would actually like to see this side of you, to be honest.
Me too. I never met the guy.
Right. Here's the deal. Like, when I put my pool in and I hire y'all, I'm gonna do it just to see.
Yeah. Just see what happens.
Yeah, see what happens. Because we'll never know until we try.
That's right.
Oh, man.
I've heard that.
Who knows? Jeez.
Sometimes you just got to poke the bear.
Right. I mean, what's the worst that could happen? Well, I can run. How fast are you? Like, you got long legs. So
pretty fast.
It doesn't matter if he's fast, man. Like, one step on this dude is like, I mean.
I know. He's got the gait of a freaking deer.
I've been told that.
That's awesome. Like I think you could just like step over me. So
that's hilarious.
Yeah. Well, okay. Well, so we've gone through the process. I think we've talked about pretty much everything.
I think we've covered pretty well.
But we're not done.
That's true.
Yeah, we can't be done yet because I don't know if Craig told you, but we have the most important part of the entire show that everybody's been waiting for. They're still hanging on after an hour and 25 minutes because it is now time for the Final Four.
The Final Four.
That's right. the final 4 questions we ask each and every one of our guests. Are you prepared for this at all?
We'll see.
Okay. I'm so glad that he did not tell you about this. This makes me really happy.
He had every opportunity to listen to 221 episodes.
And did he? No, he did
I
not.
did.
Oh, he did. But he didn't listen to the end. That's
I
the
did.
thing.
I guess I just didn't catch the final 4.
Well, it depends. I mean, if we do like a review or if it's just him and I chatting, then obviously we don't do the final 4. This is for our guests. So
I think we have. Some return guests we've done the final 4 again.
We have.
But if they're a return guest, we just haven't been doing it.
no, because I mean they've already answered the
Yeah,
questions.
we don't want to hear their lame
No,
answers
it's like
again.
You've already go
We know
back.
you.
Yeah. So anyway, here are the 4 questions, starting with number 1.
Okay.
What's the must-have tool you won't leave your house without?
My phone.
Well.
Yeah.
At least he's original, Craig.
Well, it really is. The first thing that came to mind was pocket knife,
Oh yeah,
but I lose every one I've ever had. So
that was Craig's.
That was mine. Yeah.
So yeah, it was pocket knife. I have a Gerber dime.
Nice.
It's a little, but it's awesome. It's got
Yeah.
little tweezers on it.
Yeah.
Even. So yeah, that would be my answer, but I always lose them. Yeah.
The tweezers.
The whole.
Oh, the whole
knife.
thing.
Just the whole thing.
I lose every knife. I just it's like sunglasses, man. I just
Yeah.
don't. I can't
Yeah.
keep them.
Yeah. Well,
I actually just got a new Uncle Henry that I'm
Oh,
pretty
nice.
happy about.
that's nice.
Nice.
I remember my grandpa always had an old timer in his pocket.
Yeah.
Always.
Yep.
So, well, that is the number 1 answer. So, congratulations, you fit everybody else.
Yeah.
Number 2, what's a job you walked away from? So, really, the question should have been, what's a project you walked away from, like at your house?
Mhm.
Maybe something that you were building or working on or fixing or whatever, and you just were like, forget this. I'm going to hire this out now.
Yeah.
But we didn't ask the question that way to begin with, and we're not going to change it now, are we, Craig?
No.
So the question remains, what's a job you walked away from? And you can interpret it however you want to.
Oh, I've got one heck of an answer for this.
All
All
right.
right.
So I have my doctorate as a chiropractor,
Wow.
and I don't practice.
Wow.
So I walked away
doctor.
from an entire career.
Nice.
Just said,
To design pools.
You know what? I'm not going to do this anymore.
Wow.
So yeah, so I walked away from that one.
Why?
I just didn't really like it that
Okay.
much. I don't really have.
But that's what your wife does.
That's what my wife does.
Okay.
She is fantastic.
Ah.
And she's just built to do it, and she loves it, and she's so good at it.
Were y'all doing it together?
No,
No. Okay.
no, we weren't.
Just
but-
happened to work out that way.
Yeah, that's where I met her.
Okay.
So I met her at school. So I always just say that's why I had to go do the whole thing so I could meet my wife. Yeah, I just didn't. I don't know. I like it,
Yeah.
but I just didn't want to do it all day, every day.
Well, that's reasonable.
Yeah,
I mean, you've always got it in your back pocket. I
Always
guess.
got
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean,
I learned a lot. I know a lot of stuff about the human body, a whole lot,
Yeah.
and so I can use that in my
sure.
my daily life. But
Is that one of those things? I mean, like, are there like licenses and stuff that you have to keep?
yeah,
So are you going to like maintain those?
no, I've already not.
Oh,
done
really?
That.
Nice.
Yeah.
So if you wanted to do it again, would you have to like? Is there like a test you just go take? Or?
Yeah, it's not that bad.
Okay.
I have to take a couple tests probably. I think after a certain amount of time, I have to take boards again.
Ugh.
So that would be tough. That'd be really hard.
Yeah.
Yeah, boards are no joke.
So maybe find that out so you don't.
Yeah. I really hope not to go back.
Oh yeah. Okay.
So if I have to go back,
Things are dire.
there will be worse things than boards. Yeah.
All right.
Well, I mean,
That's kind of cool though.
that's 2 out of 3 of us in this room who have jobs that they did not go to school for.
Yeah.
I'm not one of them. That would not be me.
Yeah.
I'm still in it. So, in it to win it. All right. Next question. How do you wind down at the end of a long day?
Oh, that's a good question. I usually make music.
Okay.
I like making music. I've been producing music for about 10 years. Either that or I'll just play some video games.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you like to play?
Music
and games.
That's a good.
As soon as I said it, I was like, wait a minute.
Yeah. Music wise, I like to do a little bit of like kind of some more like retro stuff, like 70s, 80s.
Okay.
Sort of like yacht rock.
Oh.
But some stuff a little more like synthy.
Okay.
More cyberpunk type stuff to it. But I'll do anything. I like EDM, or I even made like a country song once. I made a reggae song once just for the heck of it.
Why not?
Yeah. As far as video games go, I'm a little bit more of a nerd. I like swords.
Okay.
Yeah, anything I can do kind of like medieval type games. Yeah. Like Skyrim. That type of genre of stuff.
Cool.
Do they have? Is there like a new version of that?
There's always a new version.
Yeah.
Skyrim. Yeah. They released.
They did like an online one or something, didn't they?
Yeah. Yeah. So they did release it online.
Is that the newest one?
Yeah, right now.
Okay.
I think they're coming out with another one.
It was like Morrowind, and then what was the one after that?
Yeah, they did Oblivion.
Oblivion, and then Skyrim.
Oblivion is one of the best games ever. Still,
it is.
It came out in like 05 or 06, and I even like a couple months ago I did another Oblivion run through just because it's just good, man.
Nice. All right, last question. What's one of the best pieces of wisdom or advice you've ever received?
Let's see.
I'm just gonna let it hang.
Yeah, I'm really hanging on it. Sorry.
I'm good with it. I'm just gonna let it ride.
Don't let there be awkward pauses in conversations.
Right.
Yeah. I want to give it a good answer.
Especially in radio, like in the podcast world, is like,
is it on?
They're still talking.
Did I lose the feed?
The first thing that comes to mind, back in 10th grade, my dad gave me this long talk in the driveway. I've always been like my half ass in it. I don't know any other way to say that. My half ass in it has always been good enough. Has been like, I could not even try and get a 86 on the test.
Right.
I could, not go to workouts, make varsity sort of thing. But my dad challenged me in 10th grade. He's like, stop that. Basically, we just had a talk about being mediocre. And he just kind of changed my mindset about mediocrity and how it's just such a cancer. So yeah,
he's not wrong.
Yeah.
No, I mean, and the problem is so many people in the world never get over that.
Yeah,
I mean, because
it's hard.
It is, because especially whenever it's like, well, I'm not valued enough in my job or my marriage, or my kids think I'm not good enough, or my employer thinks I'm not good enough, or whatever it is, and it's like, well, why would I try?
Yeah.
It's like, well, maybe if you tried a little bit more, they would value you. I don't know, but
yeah,
I don't know.
And I definitely kind of reaping some of the consequences of that. Just, I didn't take it to heart like I should have. Like, I feel like that talk that we had in the driveway 12 years ago is like hit me like 2 years ago. Which is a bummer.
Sorry, Dad.
But at least it hit.
There's a couple ways to look at that, right? I mean, like it for you right now, it's a bummer that it hit you 2 years ago.
Yeah.
But it's really great that it's not hitting you 10 years from now.
That's true.
Yeah. And so like that's a big advantage.
Yeah.
Because for some people, like there's this, delay of adolescence, or that may not be the best way to put it, but like a delay of maturity.
Yeah.
Well, the reality of it is, statistically, weird things are happening. Puberty is hitting earlier, and the development of your brain is happening later.
Right. It's a strange
thing.
It's
a strange thing that's
this
happening.
Caveman era.
Yeah, it's really, really bizarre. Like, it used to be that the human brain in males, because they took longer, obviously, to develop, was like 25. Well, now it's like it's bumping 30. It's maybe even 30 or 31 now is the final development of your brain, where your frontal lobe is completely developed. And that's like, whenever you start thinking about it, like a 30-year-old is just now learning how to fully process information, but they've been hitting puberty 4 or 5 years earlier. Sometimes 3 years, probably really average 2 years earlier.
Yeah.
So you've hit puberty a lot earlier, and you're not making good decisions until a lot later. Like we got issues, you know. And that's just scientific. Like that's not. I'm not just saying that, like just to say, oh, that's scientific research, you know.
These whippersnappers.
Yeah, exactly. You know.
Yeah, I mean, like it used to be that it was like 26, 27. The prefrontal cortex was fully formed, and you're right. Like it's being delayed later and later.
Yeah.
And there's people have lots of different theories as to why that's happening. But
yeah,
and I think your dad was spot on. I mean, like because there's this weird thing that happens that because your mediocre try is somebody else's excellence, you know, and so you get stuck in this place of like, no, I am trying because I'm doing just as well as that guy.
Yeah.
And I can prove it.
Yeah, because I
exactly.
Yeah,
right.
Because this guy studied for 10 hours and got an 85.
Right.
Yeah.
And then you waltz in and get an 85. It's like, well, why would I try?
Exactly.
Right. I'm smarter than he is because look how well I did compared to him. Because well, you got the same. No, I didn't because I didn't try.
Exactly. And so that becomes it's like the most toxic thing ever.
Yeah, it is.
It is when you go down the path of comparing yourself to other people. Like that is the worst practice you can get into. The thing that you compare yourself to is to who you were yesterday, because that is the person that you are trying to rise above.
Yeah,
you know, and unfortunately, you know, you can get into this pattern like what you're talking about, where like who I'm comparing myself to is, you know, that guy over there who's probably really great at some other stuff, but the stuff that I can do, I don't have to try as hard.
The stuff that I can see him doing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think for a lot of people, it kind of is going to take getting out of school, to notice, because there's no more just like,
well, because school only measures you by certain things.
Yeah, there's no more measuring stick anymore, and so it's like maybe I am doing a just real mediocre job around here.
Right,
time to tighten things up.
Yeah, well, and it's frustrating because a lot of people get out of school and they're like, I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing.
Yeah,
like I've got a degree in chiropractor, for example, and it's like, well, I don't know how to do that. Like, it's like, I got an accounting degree. Well, I don't know how to do that, right?
Yeah.
You know, whatever it is, like I know for me, I graduated with my degree, and literally, I walked into a situation and I'm like, I got to learn. There's a reason that teachers have student teaching, right? Because they got to graduate with their degree and then go learn how to do it. And so I think it's frustrating to people, whereas, you know, and you know, get Craig on a soapbox here, but like you see guys that or gals that go directly into a trade out of high school, and they immediately become differently successful because they're learning how to do that thing right there. Yeah, and they can see the evidence of what they've done right then, right there. Whereas you go to school and it's like, okay, well, I can read.
Yeah,
you know, and
I know
study
these concepts pretty dang well.
That's exactly right.
Yeah,
and it's just a challenge, and
I can regurgitate them on a sheet of paper.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm a big trade guy.
Yeah,
I'm a big advocate for.
Well, here's the thing, man. Is like I think there's a lot of young people, you know, running up against exactly what you're describing, where you know you've put all this investment into a educational direction, right? And I think, you know, what you did is very odd in that you walked away from it. Most people, like, they have committed themselves to that direction, and so by the time they get there, you know, if they get an advanced degree like what you had, you know, that was probably how much additional school after your undergrad?
4 years.
4 years after that.
Yeah.
Okay, so
3.5.
8 years of advanced education, right? That you looked back on and said, you know what, I'm just going to do something different. Most people look at that and go, I can't do that. I just spent 8 years educating myself. I am committed to this. I'm going to do it whether it makes me miserable or not. And so you end up with a lot of miserable people. If when you get out of, you know, middle school, you start testing like what it is that you actually enjoy doing. Like, is it plumbing? Is it, you know, taming bats. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like try a bunch of stuff out.
Yeah.
Because you're going to figure out, well, like that sucks. I don't want to ever try that again.
Yeah.
And like, wrestling that alligator, that was a dumb idea. But like you're young enough and resilient enough that you can recover from that.
Yeah.
Most people can't recover from it after 8 years of education and then just make a complete 180-degree pivot and feel good about themselves.
Yeah.
This is, I mean, and again, coming from two people who've done it, right? And the challenges of mentally and, what are people going to think about me and all this sorts of things.
Oh, yeah, because your whole self-worth is tied up in that.
Absolutely. Your identity is completely formed within that thing. And it's like, well, that's why, I even do what I do is like, no, your identity isn't tied up in that at all. But at least it shouldn't be.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not your true identity. But that being said, like, I just think that, and hear me, like some people are probably listening to this like, they're bashing on college. I'm not bashing on college at all because, listen, there's a whole learning style that you get and an ability to learn how to learn in many ways. And, oh, by the way, frankly, there's just some things you have to go to school for in order to do.
Yeah.
That's not the case for all things. But
Yeah.
like, if you want to be a lawyer, good luck trying to just go into that profession.
Yeah, but
like,
but just going because you graduated high school, now you have to go.
Right,
But
because
what am I doing? I don't know. Just pick something while you're there.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to spend $80,000 just to pick something.
What's the difference in like? Well, I went from 9th grade to 10th grade, so it's just natural that now I go to college. Like that's not really the way that should happen.
No.
But it does so very often.
If you specifically have something, my wife knew she wanted to be a chiropractor since she was like in a junior in high school. So then it's like, all right, well, here we go. We're going to
is fantastic.
take the path.
I mean, great.
And it worked.
That's just not the case for most people.
No, it's not.
I mean, and I'm excited for you, man, because it didn't. I mean, that transition didn't happen to me till I was well into my 30s. But
it was an incredible blessing. I mean, I was straight from the Lord. I did not deserve it in any way.
Yeah.
So
same.
It was it's a blessing. That's all I can say.
Yeah.
Well, listen, I thoroughly appreciate the time. Thanks for coming on. It's been, a long episode, but it's been really, really good. We've learned a lot, so thank you.
Thanks for having me.
There is one thing.
Oh, sorry.
No, you're okay. You can put it on if you want to, but we
didn't. I forgot the.
We forgot the final question that we lied. Sorry.
There's 5 questions.
There's 5 questions. Final 5 doesn't really work as well.
It's not as snappy.
It doesn't. It is not nearly as titillating.
No.
I really like that we've incorporated that word numerous times into this episode.
That's right. All right, well, go ahead. Ask the question.
If people want to find you, how do they get a hold of you to get their pool designed?
Yeah.
Or maybe crack their back. I don't know.
Yeah, anything.
Maybe a twofer.
I'll write you a song. I'll crack your neck and build you a pool.
There we go.
Our Instagram, J Bradley Pools. You can come by on our office. We have an office off of Kirkendall.
Okay.
Other than that, really, it's mostly all just through J Bradley.
Okay.
So yeah, you can just give them a Google
Are they on
search.
most social media platforms?
Yeah, so they're on Facebook, Instagram.
Is there a website?
Yes, jbradleypools.com.
There you go.
Yeah, jbradleypools.com.
We'll link all that up.
Yeah, you call the number, ask for me. So yeah.
Take care of you.
Kevin will link all that up in the show notes.
I sure will. Well, thank you. We've already asked you to subscribe. If you've gotten this far and hadn't subscribed, I don't even know what you're doing right now.
Get off, freeloader.
Yeah, you're not even participating. You're just there. Subscribe, like. Now, here's where you can really help us. Go on Apple Podcast. Leave us a 5-star rating and review. We would really, really appreciate that. That would help us out a lot. But listen, we're here each and every Tuesday. We're on the Facebooks. We're on all the places. Thanks for showing up today. Until next time, we'll see you later.
See ya.